Hello, this is Olga Jevtich. I'm Miss Virginia Senior America 2003, and this is Fashion Notes. Today we have a very interesting guest. As always, we always have interesting guests. But before I introduce my guest, I would like to show you a few slides that I took over the holiday when I was in France. Those are windows, like a Chanel. As you can see, this is another Chanel, which is really interesting. And then they have windows from different parts of the world, like a Bangkok, London, and Singapore. And then, of course, they have, things from that typical for the country, Moscow. This is a Dior. And this is a scene from one very interesting restaurant where I had this sorbet, and I thought it was interesting served. So this is a little glimpse what I had, in France. And also attended some fashion show, but unfortunately I took the pictures, but unfortunately I could not send it, anywhere. Probably they have some gadget, to stop you from sending the picture anywhere else. Anyway, this is just a little sample, what to show you. But now I have here very interesting lady. Her name is Cynthia Larrey. This is a French name, and she's from New Orleans, and she has a beautiful things. And like most people, when they get tired of the corporate job, she was in foreign service before, and whenever she was traveling, she would buy beads. One day when she finished with the foreign service, she will start something different what she actually loved very much. I would like to introduce Cynthia Larrey, and thank you for coming today and being a guest on our show, and to talk about her jewelry. And you have to really look very closely to see the fine work that she does. And I hope that, camera will pick up the things, the fine work, and she does it with the fine needles and, of course, with a magnifying glass and lots of light. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me, how did you start it? What was your first piece that you made it?
I don't have the first piece I ever made because I got disappointed with it.
Oh.
So eventually I remade it. Many of the pieces I have here, I have remade because I've taken classes and I've taken workshops, and my techniques have changed and hopefully developed. So it makes me displeased with some of my previous work. Not all of it, but some of it.
So you start doing it, and then you said, I think I'm going to redo it. Is this how you do it?
No, it usually takes a while.
Or you just finish almost, and I said, I really do not like it. I have to redo it again.
For instance, this piece, I wire wrapped this piece. It's a labradorite stone, but it had all kinds of ornate curls and twists up here, and I didn't like it. I thought it was a little bit too complicated. So eventually, in fact, last week, I cut back on all those extras and decided to put it on a wire crochet necklace. And all of these shorter pieces, I always put a 2-inch extension chain because everybody's neck is different.
Of course.
And sometimes you want to wear this over a turtleneck. So that's why you can go from short to
longer.
An additional 2 inches.
Longer, I see. So they're most interesting pieces because, her technique, and she said she went to learn how to work with the copper to class that really doesn't teach you how to make jewelry, but teach you how to work with the metal, because she's using metal in her work and cut it with some special tools. So, that's how she makes all this interesting one-of-a-kind jewelry. And she can have a set, for example, with the earrings and the necklaces, or you can wear it just one piece. What is your favorite color to work with? Or
Turquoise, turquoise. I love turquoise. Love turquoise.
And you can mix it with other colors too.
You can mix it with amber. You can mix it with coral. You can mix it with magnesite, which is a sort of an off-white creamy stone. And actually, there are a lot of people who dye magnesite to make it look like turquoise.
Oh, and how do you know? Do you have to be expert?
You don't.
You have just to believe the people that are selling you.
You have to trust your suppliers.
I see. So your suppliers are on, you find them on the web or just everywhere?
Just about everywhere, but I always go back to New Mexico every year. It's my favorite place to go.
Oh, I hear they have a, two times a year or something like that. You want.
That's Tucson. That's the Tucson. Gem and Rock show, or Gem and Bead show. I haven't gone there yet, but I like to go to the Bead Fest in Santa Fe every year, which is in March.
So they have only beads.
They have, well, the whole purpose of the Bead Fest is to go and study with people who have written books or who are into giving workshops, and that's where I've learned a lot of my techniques. But also they have a lot of vendors who come in, and people who sell things from Tibet, from Africa, from all over the world.
Oh, I see.
It's a wonderful place, and such good food.
But what about, here they have a jewelry show like a few times. Is it a good source too for the wholesalers?
Yes, it's good. That's the Dulles Expo Center.
Yes.
It's a very good show. If you can get back into the wholesale section, it's quite good.
But you have to have a special number, that
you have
are
to
in
have
business.
a tax ID number.
ID number to go there and pick what you want. But this is good, so you don't have to travel if you can, get. But I'm sure sometimes you would like something, typical for that area, so you have to travel and find, something else. And besides, it's fun to little traveling now. Since
Any excuse to travel.
Since you retired from your old job, and now you do what you really love to do, as you can see. I'm very fascinated with the fine, fine, fine work. And this, I don't know if you can see this, very fine beads that she put together, but not just put together, they are in quite nice design. And do you make a kind of sketch, and when you start doing it, do you have any plan before you start doing it?
Whenever you start working like this with weaving beads, like in this piece and that piece.
Yeah, this is weaving.
This piece also. There's a pattern. It's almost like an Indian weave pattern. It's more visible in this piece because of the different colors of the beads. So yes, what I do is I have graph paper, and I mark out the pattern on the graph paper. And you really have to pay attention, or else if there's a mistake in the design, it'll show up.
So you have to redo it. Or do you redo it?
Or you just throw it away and start over again.
It's just
easier.
Hope nobody will notice.
Sometimes that too.
Oh, well, and you use mostly silver? Oh no, you use then gold too.
I use mixed metals.
Mixed metals.
If this were pure gold, the pieces would be very expensive. I'm in the costume jewelry design area, so it will be either gold-filled wire, gold-washed metal.
So what is different between gold wash and gold wire?
Well, gold wash is basically you take a brass bead and you dip it into liquid gold. And these this is something that you find very often in West Africa, like Ghana, Togo, Ivory Coast.
Is this permanent?
For the most part. It will wear off with a lot of use. It will.
But it will show silver underneath?
No, it'll show brass. It's not silver. It'll show brass. So basically you have that same gold-colored metal. So this discrepancy between the metal that's underneath and the metal that was washed over it won't be quite so obvious.
I see. But most of the people they're not wearing every day, so it will probably last for a long, long time. And how do you care it?
Some of these have been sprayed with lacquer, so they will last longer.
And what do you say to your clients how to take care of it? How do you store it?
I have special pH balanced plastic bags where I store all my jewelry, whether it's...
Where do you get it?
I get it from a jewelry supplier. And in the past, I have been giving gift bags with my pieces, but I think I'm going to start giving these special pH balanced bags because they do protect the jewelry longer and better.
And what about storing, let's say, at home, if people have like some jewelry, they're not supposed to touch, or do you put some cloth in between? What's the best way to protect them, not to, be scratching or maybe, getting the color off, or
what
would you do?
For instance,
for example, when you travel, how do you pack them, to preserve their, shape and everything else?
Something like this, I would take it, I'd put the pendant on the inside, and I'd wrap it around like this, and then I'd put it in one of my plastic bags.
Regular plastic bag?
No. Let me see if I can maneuver this stool.
Yeah, but this is really, it's
a bag
good to
like
know
this.
because this is interesting,
So it's transparent on the front so you can see what's in it. And then the back probably has the protective material or chemicals in it.
So it will not tarnish, and it will keep, and also it will not rub with other jewelry.
That's correct, so it protects it.
Do these bags come in different sizes?
Yes. I believe you can get smaller ones. This size seems to accommodate my various lengths of jewelry easier.
Oh, I never heard this, But you cannot buy in regular store. You have to go to this special.
Well, places, there are mail order places like Rio Grande, like Fire Mountain, Cool Tools. I would just do a Google search for
jewelry bags.
3M. I'm not sure if these are 3M, but maybe something similar.
How do they call it? How do they call jewelry bags?
I would say pH balanced plastic bags, storage bags.
Well, I didn't know there's such a thing exists, which is good to know, because I have mine, in the drawer, and I put some cotton cloth that I cut it and put in between. That's how I store it, mine.
Well, that's a good way.
But, for example, when you travel, I think it's good to have some very good protection.
And the nice thing about this is you could probably even blow a little bit of air in it. So that would be like a bit of a cushion.
Yes. Oh. Well, you always learn something. Don't we all learn something? I think it's fascinating. What is your favorite stone to work with?
As I mentioned before, turquoise.
Turquoise. And you mix it sometimes. And what about metal? For example, this is a copper, she said, and she does a different technique with the copper. I was just asking her because I have a copper in my kitchen. It's very difficult to clean. And she said you put something on it so it will get low, like antiquing, like a greenish color.
Yes, this after I cut the two metal pieces, and the top piece has to be domed with a special doming block. And then you punch holes around it, and first you set the stone in there. And then you sew with wire around.
But you have to make a hole. What do you use to make a hole?
I use special metal cutting shears. And then you just cut into it, and then you take a pair of round nose pliers, and you just bend the pieces of metal back. Then this goes into a fuming chamber, which is basically a closed plastic container with a piece of wire that's suspended across it, and then this is suspended in it. There's ammonia in the fuming chamber. Then you close the top and you leave it.
Is this kind of electricity that runs?
No, it's just plain ammonia. And you keep an eye on it to see...
Because it changes color.
It changes colors. Copper changes...
Even with the stones you put in the fuming chamber, even with a stone, it will not hurt the stone.
No, it won't hurt the stone. I wouldn't put pearls in there.
Yeah, pearls are very sensitive,
But
I
the
know
copper isn't affected as much as brass. This is brass that was in a fuming chamber. And
how long
it really has an
do you
effect.
keep it there?
It depends. You have to keep an eye on it to make sure that it's achieved the kind of color you want.
I see.
I suppose if you left it in too long, you'd lose all the brass color, which you don't want to do.
Oh. So it just gets different colors, which makes it more very interesting.
And also on the back, it goes different colors.
Yeah, different colors. Huh. So any special cleaning after that, you know, or
No,
not?
then
You know, just
I spray it with lacquer.
a lacquer. Oh.
Because you don't want the patina to wear off. So
well,
a
that's
good
why
coating of lacquer.
you do all this preparation to look like, you know, antiquing. And of course, you don't want to be taken. What about this blue piece? I like this. It's a very pretty.
This is a piece of agate, an agate, what I call a sort of a donut bead. Usually a donut bead has the circle in the center, but this is off-center. And I liked the colors, and I thought that would look great with bronze wire. So I turned it into a pendant, and then this is wire crochet. Again, my 2-inch extension.
Do you do it with a needle?
I do it with a crochet hook.
A hook. And so do you twist the wire while you are putting beads one by one?
No, the technique is you string the beads on the wire with care, because you want to make sure that the beads, the colors, are evenly distributed. You don't want them to sort of clump in one place. And I usually do anywhere from 3 to 4 strands of crocheted wire, and then I braid it.
And how long, for example, take you to finish this piece?
In one sitting?
Probably you don't do it at one sitting.
No.
Of course, because it's so fine, and you have, you know, to strain your eyes.
And your hands.
And, you know, so I'm sure. So you have several pieces in working,
Yes,
you know?
in different stages.
Stages.
So that when you
get tired of, or
the crochet work is actually the most strenuous for your hands. So
sure.
you want to put that away and then go to another piece where maybe you're wire wrapping, or you're just stringing beads on a wire. Which another thing I like about this is wire wrapping. And the nice thing about it is that if you have a special piece, maybe a seashell you picked up on a honeymoon or a trip, or like this is an arrowhead that I picked up in Utah, and you just wire wrap it and turn it into a pendant. So now you have a necklace.
So it was like exactly like that. And
Yes.
You didn't have to do anything to
No,
it.
it was just like that, and then I
And you
just
just
wrapped the
wrap it.
wire around it.
Oh, that's interesting. And what kind of stones is these black stones around?
That's probably
Pearl.
a kind of, you know, I'm not sure whether it's a jasper, or there are so many different kinds of stones out there. I don't know all of them. I'm not a geologist, but there are 2 huge groups. There's jasper and there's agate.
Agate,
Jasper is what's an easy one to see? Sort of like these stones. This is probably Picasso jasper. Whereas this is of the agate family.
Agate. What about the black and gold? What is that?
This one?
Yeah.
These are glass beads.
Oh, glass beads.
That's again, that's the woven. This
woven.
is
and she has some, you know, little
dangles.
A thing that, you know, like that you can do the weaving.
I have a small loom.
Loom.
It's probably about 6 inches wide.
Oh,
but-
is it especially for that?
It's especially made for small peyote stitched items. I mean, you can do off loom, which is by hand with thread and a needle, or you can use a loom.
Oh, this is easier, of course.
Yes, it is. If you're doing a design, I find that it's easier to use a loom.
And this is probably very time consuming.
That is, yes.
Because,
yes.
you know, it's a very, very
It's
fine
very
work,
fine.
and
Because
you know,
you're using like probably about size 11 seed beads, which are really small.
I can see it. You know, I don't think the camera can really because they're very, very small beads, and especially when you have to combine with different colors, and to make sure that they are all even and to follow the pattern, and you really have to be very careful, and then you use the different clasp. I can see different clasp. It depends what wires you are using. Is that right?
Yes and no. I mean, the choice of a clasp is part of the aesthetic of the design. I find that using wire crochet, especially for a short necklace, I prefer to use an S hook.
Yeah, this is very easy to...
Because then it goes through the loops on the chain, and you can adjust.
You can make it shorter or longer.
Yes.
I
If
see.
you use something like...
The pink one there are interesting that you have there, the pink one.
I don't see it. There's another kind of clasp called a toggle clasp. That is not adjustable. The length of the necklace will remain the same no matter what. This is another wire crochet, and it's got a little copper pendant. And it's got seashells and glass beads and some small amethyst beads in it. And that's copper
pendant,
wire.
And pendant is?
It's copper also.
Oh, copper. Oh, it doesn't look like copper really. It looks...
It's been fire colored, torch colored, which means that you take like a handheld torch. I don't like working with acetylene torches or any of these really big torches because they scare me. Give me a little bitty tiny torch like the kind you use for a creme brulee. And you heat up the copper, and it changes the color. Like this side, you don't see the change as much.
Different color.
This side, it's quite red.
And you can actually wear it on both sides.
Yeah,
whatever
it's reversible.
Very. So are they all one of a kind?
Yes, I don't repeat my designs. They're all original. They're all one of a kind. I do commission work, I do redesign.
Yeah, if, people say, for example, I have a dress this color, but I love this, you can make, for example, something like that with different beads and different colors. Copper, different, colors. Who are your clients? Mostly younger people or just various age?
All across the board, all across the board. I sell to a lot of my colleagues, sell to a lot of my friends. I do craft shows. Usually, I prefer to do juried craft shows.
Only.
Only. Like we met at a juried craft show.
Yes, exactly.
The one in Vienna.
Because I am interested in jewelry, and the girl never have enough jewelry, as you know. Never enough. Always we would like to have a new piece, So, and also, by the time I'm sure you see this program, this show will be over, but probably every year is in February.
Yes.
The show that is in McLean, in community center in McLean. So she will be here. She will be attending this show, which is a very good show. They have all kind of jewelry. This is how I found her. And I usually invite guests when something that I absolutely like, and I'm sure our viewers would like too. So here she is explaining. There are so many here on the in front of us, also on the back. I don't know if you can see it. There are more substantial pieces she has on the back. This is interesting piece with the woven little beads in different color. And was this, this is the stone, and you did.
That's
like
actually that's a Brazilian agate. And I found that if you turned it horizontally, it looked like a landscape.
It does. It does, like a fall landscape. And it goes beautifully with the blue color, And you really have to know, not just to, beading, but you have to know what colors goes with what. Otherwise, it will not be effective or beautiful. So every piece I can see that, the stones have some kind of connection with the brass or other metal that she's using. And what are the most popular colors, what people are looking for?
I find people gravitate a lot towards turquoise and
Turquoise
copper.
blue.
Turquoise, blue, and copper. I mean, you can't beat that color combination.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But coral and amber looks wonderful together.
Yeah. This is a good combination. But this is interesting how she does. I like it how she does, this copper. And she has some special tools that she has to turn this copper. I'm sure it's not easy. But copper is pliable, is it?
Depends on the gauge. The backing of this is 24 gauge. The top of it is 26 gauge. The higher the number, the thinner the copper.
Oh, the thinner.
It's the same thing with beads. The higher the number, the smaller the bead.
Oh, this is how it goes. Oh.
So 26 gauge copper or brass or silver is a little bit easier to handle. 18 gauge, then you're getting into using a jeweler's saw, metal files.
I think we learned today a lot, as you can see, all these beads and metal, this and that. And, now we know when we go to look for jewelry at the craft show, what to look for. And I would like to thank Cynthia for coming today and sharing all these beautiful pieces and, with us. And she will look for her at some other shows. And thank you for watching. This is Olga Jevtich reporting for Fashion Note. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'm so happy that she should come today and spend some time with us with her beautiful art pieces. As you can see, she called it art to wear, which they are. Bye-bye.